If I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay. Or
I want The Last of Us too. That's it. That's the bone. That's it.
well,
I want it.
how many followers do you have on Twitter?
Oh, more than I did yesterday. I got a couple today.
Uh,
Okay. Well, get a few more, and then maybe Sony will give a crap about you. You gotta have reach. You need reach.
Oh, I can reach.
Telegram stole our Final Fantasy VII review.
Telegram?
Telegram.com. Greg just hit me up. I told him to tell you about it.
Telegram.com. You know we're recording right now.
Yeah.
They stole... Oh, yeah, they've done this before.
Yeah, I figured it wasn't their first time.
Yeah, this website is trash. What do you want me to do about it?
Like a waifu.
Where did they steal it?
No, they probably just copy and pasted it.
I think it's always funny when they put like Shacknews content behind a paywall, which is what they did here. Let me. You know what? This is worth. We're recording, right? So I can actually bring this up on the show. Hold on a second. I can call them out on the Shackcast live.
You should.
You like to see this?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let me see. Shacknews, Final Fantasy.
I'm tired as shit.
Right?
Ugh.
Can we take a nap time? Can we just have like 20 minutes of radio silence for naps?
No.
It's a hard no.
No.
It's a hard no.
No. There's no nap time.
There's no nap time.
There's no nap time in baseball.
Yeah,
what is this? What do you think this is? Giant Bomb? And give a bunch of white people the week off?
Oh,
what do you think this is? Game Informer? Gonna give a bunch of white people the day off? What do you think this is? IGN? Gonna give a bunch of white people the day off? Because what? The privilege is so exhausting. Oh, I'm so tired of watching all the protests on the internet and tweeting about it. It's so exhausting. I can't do anything, you guys.
You don't know how hard it is to feel guilty about a systemic system that benefits you.
White privilege spoon, the silver spoon, fucking Ricky Schroeder. Just have Ricky Schroeder come to my house and gag me with all of this.
I should be exempt because I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wait, you don't know Silver Spoons?
Is that a music group?
No, it's a TV show from the 80s.
No. I was born in this. So were you. How did you watch this? TV Land? Nick at Night?
I swear to God, they even did a white privilege episode.
They did.
Because, his best friend on the show was a black kid.
Yeah.
And, he didn't have as much as him. And he tried to explain it to, Ricky Schroeder one time. And Ricky Schroeder, wasn't getting it at first. Man.
Here we go. But real quick. Let's shit on Telegram.com. Final Fantasy VII Remake Review, Victory Fanfare by Greg Burke at Shacknews. They credit us.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then there's an ad, and then here's Greg's review, but it's blocked by a paywall.
Damn.
So you have to sign up. You have to sign up. By the way, here's Greg's review at shacknews.com. You can look at it for free.
They didn't even bother embedding the video.
No.
I wonder if they used the picture of Greg's.
I doubt they embedded Greg
and his brother.
That's an adorable picture, though.
It is.
Look at little Burkleton.
Baby Burkleton.
Look at the baby Burkletons. Adorable.
The baby Burkleton bros.
Anyway.
That's got to be the next...
what do you want me to do about that? We got millions of page views. Am I supposed to fight them over the... How many page views do you think we... You can't even look at it.
See,
it's not behind a paywall.
Yeah, you can't
see it. You can go look at it on my website for free.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? This has happened to me for years. People steal our content, right? All the time.
It's a thing.
It's different for you, David. If someone steals your book...
That's happened.
right? But that's happened, right?
Yeah, I've had to deal with that. Yeah.
It's a different level. When you spit out a Shacknews guide about Red Dead Redemption and this website completely steals it, and you actually knew that they were stealing it, so you put traps in your guide and they fall for them. Or that time when Donovan showed up on someone else's guide for Fortnite, and we're like, that's Donovan in Fortnite.
So
we've seen it. Like,
I've had to deal with this a couple of times.
They hate us because they ain't us. And it's because we're doing the fact that we create so much good content, it gets stolen. I can't do anything about that.
The one time I've had to deal with a couple of book thieves, but the one that actually stands out was Stay a While and Listen One. They didn't steal it, but they plagiarized, and they, in this case, was actually game trailers. They used to put out series of retrospectives, which were really good. So I tune in. This was like a couple weeks after Stay a While and Listen 1 came out. I'm like, oh, they have a retrospective on Diablo. Cool, I'll watch this. They're getting information. I'm like, you know what? No, this was not on the internet. This was not known until I printed it. Then my picture comes up in their video. My picture that I took with the co-founders of Blizzard North on a street in San Francisco 3 hours before Amy and I left the airport to move back to Ohio.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, fine. Maybe at the end they'll like credit. No, they didn't. So I had to get into a whole thing with them. Now, if you go back and watch that video, if you've seen it out there, because game trailers died years ago, they credit me in the description of the video, and they added a credit sequence. So the funny part is, a month later, they promoted a part 2 for Diablo 2, and Amy's like, what do you think this one will have? I'm like, nothing, because I haven't written the book yet. And yeah, that video was like 15 minutes shorter and was basically regurgitated Wikipedia. It was terrible. It sucks because you work so hard on something and then people just rip you off.
It's not like I'm happy that our content got stolen again.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's just I'm like conditioned to it. Yeah. And I look at I'm gonna have to find out who owns that website, and then you know me, I'm a troll deep down. So like when this happens, I just go out on social media and call you out publicly when we have like receipts. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing too.
Like VGR.com knows all about that. But like, you know, we've had to straight up, someone had created a fake author over there, and they were posting Shacknews rewrites and really not crediting us, not linking back to us. And it became really obvious. So we called them out on it. And I'll do that publicly when I have all the evidence in the world to do so.
Yeah.
When you use a clip art picture of like a woman, like the white woman clip art as an author image, and then you make a fake author on your webpage, yes, I'm going to call you out on it. This is different. They credit us. They credit Greg.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah. They put it behind a paywall. They put our free content. That's really what's like, that's where I'm like, I can sue. I know I can sue, and I can definitely do something about it.
Yeah.
But I wonder where they're incorporated. Are they based in Russia or something? Like, I really wonder, who am I suing? Because that's 9 times out of 10. When someone's stealing our content on the internet, they're not incorporated in the United States. And it becomes infinitely harder.
Yeah.
Infinitely harder.
I had to threaten litigation until they credited me at the least. I said, take the video down or credit me. Mm-hmm. And they did credit me, and they interviewed me and incorporated new stuff. But yeah, it's infuriating. It's maddening. Especially like, you know, a review to a book. Like man, that sucks. You know?
Yeah. But also like Greg's video review is excellent.
It is.
It's probably his best video review he's ever done. Mm-hmm. So go watch it. Like go. I understand Greg's frustration, but I feel like we should be very happy with how that content piece performed. You know, we are featured in Final Fantasy VII promo materials. Like, it's probably going to be in our Game of the Year discussion. The game is right. Like is it still your Game of the Year right now?
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing I've played. I'm enjoying Maneater.
Maneater's excellent.
Yeah.
How about Maneater? the dark horse. Did you see Donkey's video on Maneater?
Yeah, I watched it just today. It's
interesting. Yeah. I think he likes Maneater, but he appreciates it for its jank. Like, there's jank to Maneater, but it's also not a fully priced game. It's also like a shark RPG.
Yeah.
And it deserves credit. Like, I feel like at the end, like, you know, I'm already thinking about the Shacknews Awards, right? And, like, when you think about end of year, Maneater's going to be in the discussion as, like, one of the better games to come out this year. And, like, kudos to them on launching during this period.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's kind of amazing. So, yeah. No, shout out to Tripwire and the devs over at Maneater. And it's like started from such a small idea. It's like any good idea, right? They created something that didn't exist that they all wanted, and it turned out great. And now, knowing Tripwire, there's a Maneater 2 that they're gonna make, and it's gonna do the things that the first one didn't do because it was more of an experiment. Games like this are what I love about video games. They're like these like small risks that companies take sometimes that end up being like this could be a franchise now.
That's actually Demon's Souls was that. Sony wrote it off. Like when Atlas was like, can we publish it in the States? From Software was like, it was just kind of an experiment, and Sony was like, yeah, we paid for it in Japan, but we think it's gonna bomb because it's too hard. And then like GameSpot gave it Game of the Year, and it ended up selling really well. And then Miyazaki was like, oh, cool. And then that's how Dark Souls happened, you know. It's cool when that happens. You take someone's experiment where you can see, yeah, there's a lot of jank around. Demon's Souls is super janky, but there's a diamond and all that rough, and Maneater sounds like that too. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the predecessor to Rocket League was that the super powered rocket whatever powered battle cars, the really bad game. But yeah, I love seeing companies take risks like that. It seems like Maneater. I thought Donkey seems to like that game. I seem to like that game. Greg loved that game.
I took his video as a critique of like the super serious review types. Like,
I agree.
Saying, like, look at all this. Like, oh, people are like, oh, it's
I think it's
repetitive. Like, no, it's just totally fun.
Oh no, he's pretty much directly attacking Dan Stapleton of IGN. He's not.
I don't think it's even.
It's not any other reviewers. No, he's attacking the reviews editor of IGN in that video. Pretty directly.
IGN's review because they're the most
it's about Dan. Like it's about what Dan tweeted this week. There's subtext to Donkey's video. There's got to be. Did you see Dick's tweet?
Oh man, did he dig that hole? And he kept digging.
I'm just saying, like, when you have to delete your tweet because it's getting ratioed that hard during the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a coincidence when I saw Dan's name on Donkey's video. I was like, oh, he's using that 7 out of 10. Like, really? MC Hammer's playing in the background. There's just like so much. I don't know. Donkey's a goddamn genius. That video is one of my favorite videos released this year. So go watch Donkey's Maneater video and go watch our Maneater interview. It's excellent. Yeah. We had an awesome live stream with the devs from Tripwire. And we're doing more stuff like that.
Yeah, they might come back, they said. I think they had fun.
Yeah, I imagine I have a feeling that I may get some replies to my E4 emails after what we announced today.
Yeah.
Now, to let the folks know at home, we're recording this. It's 6:40 p.m. Eastern here in Canton, Ohio on June 4th. E4 arbitrarily begins June 9th, and the Super Stream Spectacular, right, which is what is happening next week, it's basically going all week, I think. Whatever. We'll figure it out. That's E4. But we did announce that Ice-T's coming on June 11th. We're going to play video games with Ice-T. Celebrate how video games can bring people together.
That's pretty exciting.
That sounds like exactly what we should do. That sounds like better than anything we ever did at E3. You know, we look at E3 and what we've done there, and now what we can do without E3. We're going to have to really ask ourselves a question if E3 does come back, if we come back with it. Or if next year it's E5, and then E6, and so on.
Yeah, I've been saying that since like 2015 before I came back here.
I
know, you can do so much stuff on your own now.
Yeah, like it's I looked to Kevin Cassidy over at Go Nintendo, right? Mm-hmm. And Kevin stopped going to events way before anyone. And I was like, why'd you stop going to events? Because I just miss seeing Kevin. And he was like, because I can cover everything remotely and get this. I can get probably better coverage and faster.
Well, and how appropriate for him, right? A Nintendo journalist is like, yeah, I'm just going to do what Nintendo did. I don't need to go to this shit.
You know what? That was it. I think that was the moment. When Nintendo stopped having press conferences at E3, I think Kevin stopped going.
Yeah.
I'd have to go and ask him, but I think it was around that. And that would make a lot of sense.
It's so much money for increasingly little return because it's just so much noise that week.
A lot of energy drinks.
Yeah, a lot.
And like we don't have any energy drinks coming to E4 yet. We didn't even get. I'm sorry, guys, we didn't get the Baja Blast sponsorship.
I love Baja Blast. Love it. Right?
Dude, they made a 0-calorie one this year, and like,
is it out?
Yes,
I can buy it.
I got a few boxes of it, but like, I still feel like I should be shipped several boxes of Mountain Dew Baja Blast 0-calorie before.
I tried to put I put feelers out. I can just tell you that a lot of companies.
It's part of my rider now, Asif.
The packaged good companies specifically. Yeah. They spent their marketing spend already through most of the next quarter, and there's really been a freeze on a lot of different companies spending on marketing. And it's adversely affecting our competitors or anyone who's dependent on ad revenue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's something that's happening. But no BS. Like, if I can get iced tea to come to E4, I could have got Mountain Dew at least on the phone, right? And we got Mountain Dew on the phone. They already spent their nut.
Can they just send us Baja Blast though?
I think this is now going to be the beginning of a conversation between Shacknews and Mountain Dew. Like, with our E4 logo, we are proclaiming our love for Baja Blast, right?
That specifically, yes.
Like, not Mountain Dew. Like, we specifically like Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Yes.
That's the point here.
That's it.
And I think as long as maybe during E4, Blake, we just talk about how much we like it anyway, even though they're not paying us.
Like,
that's how you influence your way into a sponsorship.
Asif, now that I'm an influencer, I have a rider, and it's just several 12-packs of Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero Sugar.
How long have you been an influencer for, bro?
Oh,
who represents you, bro?
You do.
I'm your manager. I get 10%, bro. I get 10% of your Baja Blast, motherfucker. Give me that's how many cans is that?
Like, if you get
2.4 cans,
you get 12 packs, and you just keep a 12-pack.
That's not 10%.
Well, it's probably more.
It's less. 112 is less than 110.
Take two 12-packs.
I see what you're trying to do here. I see what you're trying to do here. I'm the one brokering the Baja Blast to begin with. How do I only end up with 1 out of 12?
Then take 2. You
know what?
I don't know.
I don't even drink that shit. You can have it.
You don't even like it.
I don't.
I'm just saying, like.
But it's like a currency at this point. Let's be honest. What would you rather have right now? A bunch of Baja Blast or some fucking dollar bills?
Baja Blast, honestly.
Right?
I can't really go outside. I can't do anything with my money.
You shopped outside.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it's been fucking months.
You go.
It's literally been months.
The outside world
to shop.
It's been a while. It really has.
Yeah.
I need to go soon though, David. Like, I have several things that I need to buy.
All the Targets in my area are closed. That's like the only place I can get Baja Blast Zero Sugar. I mean, maybe I could go to Walmart, but guess what? They lit the Walmart on fire this week. So I cannot.
So what you're saying is you really, if I could ship you Baja Blast, that would be good?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be like a stimulative thing?
like the zero sugar. Yeah, it's got to be the zero sugar. Like the
zero sugar Baja Blast. And now we're talking. That's a little bit healthier.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I
still
mostly
not. That stuff would probably kill a rat. Let's be honest.
Nah, I don't know. It's pretty
prolonged
great.
usage of that. If you were like a rodent, I think it would kill you.
Maybe I'm not a rodent though.
You're not a rodent, and that's the whole point of rodent tests.
And like rodents usually die of cancer.
Yeah,
you know, most of them like
especially the ones that are
quickly.
in labs being tested on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really can't. Like the places that I would normally go to get it, which I haven't been able to go to get it because of quarantine. Like the only reason I got it, bless her heart, Aspen, she did a no contact drop off because she was shopping at a Target. And she's like, "Do you want me to get you some of these?" And I was like, "Lord, yes, please." And she came by and she left them outside my door.
Which she was your Sam Porter Bridges.
She was. She saved my. I guess in this case, I'd be holographic Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, you were basically hologram Jeff, or what the hell does he go by in that? I can't remember. There's like some name for him. Luden fan. That's right. He's Luden fan.
Luden fan.
Yeah. He would give you so many. Did you give her a bunch of thumbs up? Remember Death Stranding, guys?
5 stars.
Anyway, so fucking last night, get this. Fucking bat in my house.
Uh-huh.
How the fuck 2 bats, 9 months? How is this happening to me?
You're just sitting there, you're thinking to yourself, criminals are a superstitious lot.
And cowardly lot. Superstitious and cowardly lot.
Here's the actual story. It's after the Wreckfest Shack battle, right? I know you got a Batman wedding ring. I'm ignoring this
Batman wedding ring.
You think I'm ignoring my origin story here, but
I do.
I fucking hate bats. I
don't. It's too bad. You've had 2 now. If you get a 3rd, just like close your eyes and stick a hand out because it's going to happen. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting it. You're Batman now. This is. I'm sorry. You're Batman. You have a bat dog. You got bat dog. That's covered.
Think about it.
I did have to. I put Lola in the carrier and hid her under the table while I did battle. And then her room, right? Mm-hmm. I opened the sliding door so that it would maybe get the fuck out of my house, and it just and they would get tired, right? And then it would get tired.
You should buy a net gun.
There,
A net gun.
I do need a net gun. I need a net gun so badly.
Asif, you know who has a net gun?
Who?
Batman.
God damn it. Fuck you. I don't want to be Batman. I'm not Batman.
It's not about what you want at this point.
I'm not Batman.
That's exactly what. See, you're already protecting your secret identity. That's good.
I'm not, and I don't want to be Batman.
And yet,
millionaire.
I do need a net gun though. I need a net gun bad. But anyway, I used one of my blankets, and I used the power of my voice. Once again, sounding like the hero of time, Link, going yeah, as loud as I can to scare this fucking thing. Yeah. And it did bounce away from me because it used sonar, right?
Yeah.
They're also like I had a giant sheet that I was like kind of throwing at it. It was an intense hour. Right as I was like, after the Wreckfest battle, I made some chicken sandwiches, right? As I eat my apocalypse food. Put it down on the table, ready to eat. Fucking bat.
Yeah.
Bat.
Yep.
Like, oh, hello. What are these chicky sandwiches? I don't know. Them.
Anyway, fuck bats. I don't want to be Batman. I'm sick of this shit. Bats can fit they're fucking ninjas. And then once they're gone, you don't even know if it's gone yet, right? Because it's like fucking insane. They're like little ninjas. It was not a big one. This was definitely a juvenile. And it non-violently left my house. So there was no...
That is not a Batman thing to do. Batman violently leaves most places.
No.
Well,
Batman mysteriously disappears out of windows all the time.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're talking to Commissioner Gordon. But it's okay. The next time you're in your backyard, you're walking, be careful you don't step on any rotting boards and then you'll fall down a shaft, and you'll be in this huge cave underneath your house. You didn't even know it was there.
No bullshit, David. There is a shaft.
Oh, shit!
Oh,
so,
damn.
You're Batman!
Oh, damn.
Awesome, you're Batman!
Maybe he's...
It's an old well, okay? It was a natural gas well.
Oh, my God. There's
you know
probably
what?
hella bats there.
Yeah.
That's probably where they're coming from.
Dude, I can't believe that Batman is my employee. Oh, can I be your oracle? I could just like look stuff up for you while you're out fighting crime.
Look up why God do I have to do battle with bats late into the evening. My neighbors must, if they heard me, which I think they might have because I was screaming rather loudly, they're like, what the hell's wrong with Awesome?
I mean, you fit the archetype. You fit the Batman archetype, Asif.
No.
What about
Batman is brown. Wait. No, it's not. Yeah, but he is now. No. But he is now.
I'm the Miles Morales of Batman.
You've got
There's a black Batman. He's called like Tech Knight or something black. Like that though.
Hey, Austin,
I'm just pointing it out. I know you're not.
How many cars do you own? How many cars do you own? Okay, you had to think about it. You're Batman.
I have a few.
That's another piece of evidence.
How many Teslas do I own? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Millionaire Playboy Asif Khan.
God, I wish I was a
late at night. Late at night.
Not owning Slack stock, tell you that much.
Just fighting crime in Canton, Ohio. Leaping from rooftop to rooftop.
Hey, there's protests going on in Canton. It's just not in the rich white part of Canton.
Here's all I want to know.
I did hear fireworks last night, though.
Oh, that's something.
So what I think's going to happen, here's my theory. If these continue, which they probably will, these protests, I think some people might move to the whiter neighborhoods to carry on some protests because the National Guard is activated in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
But not necessarily in rich suburbs of Cleveland.
Well,
so I'm like, what's to stop people from mobilizing and
let's look at what happened in Walnut Creek.
Exactly.
Let me talk about Walnut Creek for a second. That's where my grandparents moved from Oakland when it was just a small little farm town, actually full of walnut trees. There are no walnut trees in Walnut Creek anymore, by the way, just fun fact. So as I'm growing up, like this city became more and more gentrified to the point now where it's got a fucking Tiffany's in the downtown shopping center. And it's considered the Northern California Beverly Hills. Like it's where people go to like fancy shop. I worked there. I worked retail several places in Walnut Creek. And man, I've been yelled at by so many rich old white women. So they sent out like a big ass armored Humvee and threatened to run over protesters in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, they said if you do not move, you will be dead.
Yeah, but this is like a day or two after there were actually people looting in downtown Walnut Creek.
That's right.
You know? And the thing about being poor in Walnut Creek is you definitely at least have a better understanding of wealth disparity and like how just how I don't know, delusional a lot of people of affluence are. You know, I remember not having somebody didn't understand why it was so hard for me to get to school when I was a kid, and they're like, well, why don't you just have your parents buy you a car or something like that? And I was like, how, you know, what do you think I am? You know, like they didn't seem to understand that like I was broke as a joke, you know.
Yeah, the concept that not everybody is entitled to a car when they're 16.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they're like, what? How is that even possible? Like that, they come from that level of wealth, and it's like that pervasive in that community.
Exactly. That like people like the idea that people would have to struggle for something and not just pay to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. It's just really weird, but yeah, I grew up around like a lot of McMansions and stuff like that, and I just kind of lived in this like beat up old house with my grandparents a lot, and like watching Walnut Creek like go down that road more and more was just like really eye-opening as a kid. And especially like they took like the one section of the city that was like really where most of the like people of color lived and like low income families. They literally turned that area into a freeway off ramp, like a huge freeway off ramp. Like they kicked everybody out of Walnut Creek, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like Walnut Creek deserves whatever it gets, and if that makes any sense. I don't
like,
know.
You mean the people that are living there now, and like what's because it's hard to say because like I don't think anyone deserves a tank in their
yeah, exactly. No, but like that's the kind of thing the Walnut Creek police would do.
This is like where this is the logical conclusion of the gentrification you're talking about.
Yeah, that's more what I'm talking about. So
yeah,
like
that like
people
we shouldn't be surprised that we're seeing fascism when anti-fascism is being labeled a terrorist organization. That fascism is what's being implemented, and I've seen reports of there are these audio devices that they're using in Philadelphia apparently that can damage your hearing.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
They're using some really, really. I mean, you've seen the photos of rubber bullets everywhere at these protests, and the videos, and then just the damage that's being done. People with chunks of their brains being taken off. Proper riot procedure with those is to shoot them into the ground around people or at people's feet, not headshots. You know? So that seems the amount of people that I've seen injured by rubber bullets in the past 8 days is also screams fascism to me.
Yeah, so I have some like firsthand and secondhand accounts of that stuff as well. Like I had a friend get shot in the shoulder with a rubber bullet at the San Jose protests last week, and it's infuriating because they were not doing anything. No one was
peaceful protesters being shot at.
Yeah.
And then what happened with the president, where he tear gassed peaceful protesters to clear the way to walk to a church that did not agree to have the photo op done, a church that did not agree to have their Bible used as a prop. The bishop of that I think it was the diocese, that whole area, she came out and said that she said that this is not something that they approve of, something that they would have done. Like I think I guess the reason that we're doing this podcast this week versus everyone who didn't do a podcast this week versus us not doing podcasts for many other weeks because we're busy, is that I think it's important to highlight just how fucked up shit is, and that it's okay to be completely outraged at what's happening right now, but that you should try to resist and you should point out the inadequacies of this system, and you should point out the flaws, and you should point out, yes, that black people are treated differently in this country, right? That to me that's obvious, but I'm not white, and like to a lot of people, this week was so eye-opening. And I'm like, I'm fucking old. I've been brown in this country for fucking almost 4 decades. Yes, it's not easy, but I don't think we like should stop working because of it. If you have a job right now in this pandemic, you should be fucking happy that you have a platform to do anything, not squander it.
Yeah,
that's what I don't get. I guess that's my beef. If we're squanching the beef, that's my beef. Like, we have a platform. We have millions of people come to the site every month, right? People that can receive a message. Like, I don't care how many people read evening reading, but if you read evening reading, every day it's just footage of the protests, and it's a spotlight on this fascist movement. Like, especially last week, when Donald Trump issued an executive order removing the liability of user-generated content platforms from what their users post. He attacked Shacknews. He attacked the chatty. He attacked all good free speech outlets on the internet. Like, despite the flaws of Twitter and Facebook, they are an outlet for free speech. They're flawed, but they're an outlet. And, like, yes, they hide behind that law. But it was like watching, and I wrote it in the article, I said it was like watching a permabanned Shacker rant on Reddit. Like, just about how Shacknews moderation is out of control. And I had a Shacker tweeting at me today about how we have a rogue mod. Dognose is a rogue mod. And he's out of control. I'm like, you don't understand how Shacknews moderation works, if you think that. We all talk to each other. Everything is it's a communal decision by the moderators. Unless it's obvious, right? Unless it's like obviously hate speech, obviously that. But when there's a gray area, if there's a decision made, and if there's a moderator who doesn't like a certain Shacker, they tend to have to recuse themselves from deciding on moderation on that individual. So I just think that, like, at a time where we are being attacked, that we should celebrate the fact that the Shacknews community is still there. We didn't have a Blackout Tuesday. We still posted everything that we post every day. Because I think, and Blackout Tuesday, do you guys remember #walkaway?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was...
I think Blackout Tuesday was #walkaway. I think it was the same thing. There were 9 elections held on Tuesday. What a convenient time to make everybody who's white just not pay attention to social media for a day. Maybe not get reminded that they could go out and vote, or that they should have already voted by mail. But, you know, especially when the movement, Black Lives Matter, it's so important to flip local governments. So important to flip mayoral races, you know, judges. Like, various local elections that were happening on this week. What a convenient time to create a hashtag to make everyone walk away at the same time. I thought it was really a bad thing. And I think that it was, I question who created it. And I have several friends of mine who happen to be Black that also felt that way. And I think that it's something to wonder that, Blackout Tuesday, was it really more powerful to say nothing on that day, or would it have been more powerful to actually do something that day? And I think that was what was misunderstood. Now, maybe there was, like, someone who came up with the original idea and it was good, but I worry that, like, Russian trolls ran with it in a different direction, and it had a very similar effect that #walkaway did.
It's just like white people couldn't handle dealing with systemic racism for a week. They had to be like, oh my God,
we need a day off.
This is too much to handle. Let's all just
I think
take
that's
a schwitz.
I think that's going.
I mean, maybe a little bit. Maybe that's hyperbole, but
maybe it is. It is hyperbole.
No, it is hyperbole. I'm just curious. I just think that there's a deleterious effect of that hashtag and what ended up happening. The fact that they were using it in conjunction with #Black Lives Matter, that screwed up the whole feed.
Yes, for the static interference.
And that's where I'm like, this feels like it was Russian bots, because I started to look at, like, who was doing it, and I was like, these are the MAGA heads. These are, like, I'm like, some of this wasn't adding up. I'm like, and then we saw the next day this rise of the K-pop stans, where it was Whiteout Wednesday and All Lives Matter, and we saw this inverse of what I'm talking about occur, where K-pop stans have taken over white supremacist hashtags. So I think that, and it sounds conspiracy theory at best, but I just think Blackout Tuesday was, it might have been, maybe it was founded in something good, but I think it might have been manipulated.
So I think it was the digital form of what's happening in a lot of protests, right? Where these protests, a lot of them started peaceful. Now, I also understand the looting and the violence. I don't completely disagree with why that's happening. I get why it's happening.
Yeah.
But then you have a lot of cops who are kind of throwing gasoline on the fire or starting the fire. You have a lot of white supremacists who are going there and stirring the pot because they know that when the police roll in, the police aren't going to go after them. They're going to go after the other. And that's kind of what, so I don't think that is a conspiracy theory at all. I think that we're seeing that at protests, and I think we're seeing that online. #walkaway is a pretty apt comparison.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest fear. And then I saw that people ran with that motivation, the positive motivation of it. But I feel like it would have been better. And that's why I don't know. I'm not white. I didn't understand what the hell was happening. Even you can go back on my feed and look at it. I said, the fuck is Blackout Tuesday? I asked it at midnight on Tuesday because I was like, I saw it suddenly start trending and I didn't understand it. And I was like, this seems like the opposite of what Black Lives Matter has been. The hashtag Black Lives Matter has been about putting information that's being censored out there. Because right now the city of Cleveland is banning the media from these protests. Like we can't. You can't see footage of people. Like it's so convenient.
Is that legal?
No,
it's not.
No.
So, yeah, go on, continue.
That's what I mean. Like when stuff like that's going on, I worry when I see like the one social media as good and as evil as it can be.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like my main source for information is what's happening on the streets, because CNN is not showing that stuff. Like. They're showing looting. They're showing a bunch of cops kneeling, a ton of cops kneeling with protesters is what I'm seeing on the media, versus people getting their asses beat, girls getting thrown. I've seen all sorts of violence occurring in all sorts of places except Cleveland. I can't see. There's very little footage coming out of Cleveland, and I can't imagine. I know the demographics of Cleveland. I can't imagine it's good, whatever's going on there. And like that sickens me that there's like a National Guard presence in a city that's an hour away from me, but I'm nice and safe here. Like I feel like that's going to spill over. And like that's not it's and that is it. That's like the problem. That like you can live in this like nice white predominantly white place and you're safe. Like Walnut Creek, like whatever. Like there's always going to be like that. But in Ohio, you're never that far from the hood.
No.
Like you're just not, because there's not a whole lot of nice places here. So like I feel like it's going to spill over if there isn't justice. And I think it's good that the cases are being brought. I think that Breonna Taylor's case is being reopened by the FBI. I think that's good. Like, good things are happening from this. It's bad. It's like it's sad that this is happening. And I'm supposed to go to Columbus in 10 days. I don't think
Columbus is bad right now too. The police there are out of control.
Yeah, Columbus was the first city to get shut down.
I would not go there.
Right?
Yeah, I would not go.
I was, because there's a Loop Daddy show there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't want to get my ass beat.
No.
And then like you have to think about like I have to drive down there. It's 2.5 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if I get pulled over for anything? And then I have to go to the show. It's probably about a 2-3 hour thing. I have to charge my car somewhere. That's where I get fucked up.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, that's where I would jump me. If I was in Columbus after the show, charging my car, that'd be the perfect time to jump me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, I don't think I can go. And it really bums me out because I think what Mark's doing is super inspirational. That the drive-in concert tour is awesome.
Yeah.
But
that's a really cool idea.
It's a brilliant idea, and he's coming to Ohio, and I would have supported him even with the coronavirus out there. Even though Franklin County, David, is the #1 county in Ohio, I would have gone. But I would have been like freaking out just about that. Now it's like that and this. And it's like, no, I just don't want to get my ass beat. I don't want to get I don't want to get fucked up by the police or the National Guard.
Things went really well here in Oakland last night. I just want to note that, though. Like, the cops didn't enforce the curfew. Everyone at the protests were just dancing at the end. Like, it turned into like
I saw some New York protests that were dancing. And like, that's my shit right there. That's the Army of Techno right there. That's that spirit. That's the good spirit.
Yeah,
that's peace, love, unity, and respect. That's the hippie movement.
Yeah,
that's like all those things. All the good things that are happening, people are ignoring, and they're focused on the looting. They're focused on the violence. There is a multi-generational, multiracial, multiple countries movement. People in Japan are protesting for Black Lives to Matter. Like this is, I think, unlike anything we've seen. It really, in the history of race riots and race protests, I don't think we've ever seen anything on this scale, and that gives me hope that maybe this is the time that people rise up to a corrupt power, because that's what this country was founded on, and I think that there's like some sin in this country, right? And it's like, this is that sin, this 400 years of Black oppression in this country. This has to be dealt with. It has at least equity, right? At least fairness. And I think the dichotomy of the reopened protesters with AK-47s screaming in police officers' faces without masks on, and now the George Floyd being murdered.
It was murder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two images side by side just highlight the inequity of America. And it's like, fix it. Enough. Fix it. And we couldn't have a worse person in charge right now. Like, this is...
No, it actually, honestly, it feels like the world against Trump in a lot of ways, like just yelling at him. And what's crazy is, like, this could like, if Trump was smart, he would realize that this is like how the Grinch Stole Christmas moment, where he could grow his heart 3 times the size of what it is, so that it would probably be the size of a peanut, I guess, in his case at that point. But like, he could really, if he had pivoted, he would be a hero for like causing actual reform.
A better leader in this scenario could really have gained a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, there's protests in every fucking state. Every single fucking state wants change, is demanding change, is saying that this can't go on like this. Black people can't be murdered by cops anymore. Police can't be so authoritarian. They can't be so militaristic. And what does he do? He gets the fucking military to gas peaceful protesters so he can walk to a fucking church. And it's just like, he doesn't seem to get that for someone that wants to be liked as much as he does, and like have that be the only thing he really gives a fuck about, really. He doesn't seem to get like why pushing back on this is wrong. Like, he's just pushing forward because he's so into his white supremacist constituents and keeping them loyal. But what he doesn't get is we're a much larger crowd. Those white supremacists are a minority in this country. Mm-hmm. They get a lot of airtime because they got guns and they're scary looking and they're fucking stupid, and everyone loves to look at a fucking car wreck, especially like when they're people. You know, we love our fucking Tiger King shit. We love like stories like that of just weird, like cops. Esoteric people. Yeah, or cops. Like just you know, Duck Dynasty. You know, you know what I mean though. Like, we love like just kind of looking at those people and feeling superior to them. You know, like, we like to look at them and be like, oh, look at this fucking idiot over here. I'm fucking better than this guy. And that's a lot of the reason that they get airtime, or just to piss people off. Just to prod us, you know, like just to make us angry. And it's like, if we don't give those people attention and we focus more on the people pushing for positive change, Like, that's going to be better for all of us in the long run. But like, we just can't turn away from a freaking train wreck when we see one. And I think that's a lot of times why we see so much of these white nationalists getting coverage, like, and like so many people getting riled up by that coverage.
I don't know, man. I think there's closet racism among white people, and
absolutely.
that is the difference in the 2016 election. Is the people who to your face said they weren't voting for Trump, but then did anyway, and they were predominantly white. You can go look at the demographics. The majority of minorities, I think it was like 80%, voted for Hillary, right? Mm-hmm. And like, who did vote, right? And 20% voted for Trump. Educated white people, both men and women, voted for Trump. And it's who you have to figure out what percent of those people are who you're talking about, and you have to out them. And I've noticed, trust me, this last week it's super obvious who on my feed. And you know what? Good on my friends. None of you are fucking racist. You're all awesome people. You're all really smart, well thought people who like are pretty open to other cultures and ideas. Like a lot of our generation. But like, there's a lot of people who are being quiet right now, and they're the ones that I think might be voting for Trump this fall. And I think that the question is, how many people? There's some early polling data out of Wisconsin that shows that educated white women in suburban areas are overwhelmingly supporting Biden because of all these things we're talking about. The line being crossed, where you're tear gassing people to go walk to a church. A lot of God-fearing people don't like that image, and I think that there are some things that Trump has done that I think are even going to hurt his base, where there's a line being crossed. Maybe they're racist, but they don't like seeing that. Yeah. Like there's like even a line for certain casual racists, and I think Trump might have crossed that line. That's how hated he is. So if he wins, my God, what an insane time that will be. I just hope we get an election. I hope he doesn't declare elections illegal before then, after he bans the internet.
Yeah, I think a lot of racists are upset. I feel like they probably thought they had a good thing going here in America, and that Trump's blowing it up in some ways. If that makes any sense.
He's like so chaotic and so disruptive that he doesn't even do right by the corrupt base that he already has.
Yeah.
Like, he screws over everybody. He's a snake oil salesman deep down. And like, we're seeing that now. Like, you can see it with how he's bailing out companies and how he's pushing for all sorts of tax cuts if you're going to give more stimulus to people. But Blake, you're so right. A good leader in this moment. I saw The Rock tweeted out an amazing video today that you should go watch about the next leaders and how you could be one of the next leaders, and to lead by, that we don't have the right leader right now, but the next leader will have to rise from this movement. And like I do think it's a multi-generational, multicultural movement with K-pop fans and LGBTQ people and brown people and black people and white people and like Asian people and all sorts of people, right? And it's like, I think that there is that movement. I saw that movement forming when I was in part of the Bernie Sanders campaign, and I think that oddly enough, a lot of these things that Bernie was running on happened to overlap with this movement. Criminal justice reform being at the core of that. Marijuana legalization also being there. Healthcare for all would disproportionately help the African American community. Like, there's a lot that can be done. And I think things like Andrew Yang's plan for universal basic income, there's more that can be done to begin to repair this like wound that America has. It's like, We've been just bleeding out for years. We're not fixing our wound. Like, we have to do something. Otherwise, we're going to bleed out. And that's where we are right now.
No, it's true. Like, America is either going to completely collapse on itself or it's going to start making the right changes that it needs to make. Like, we're totally at that precipice.
But I'm really disappointed in the state of Ohio right now. Like, it's super bummed out to see how we're acting. Not the people.
Yeah.
See how the state's treating the people and how the city of Cleveland is acting. The mayor of Cleveland, like, out of control and super racist and at the core of wealth disparity in America too. Like, the Midwest, the Rust Belt. I don't know. I was talking to somebody about N95 supply. Have you guys been able to buy an N95 mask?
I have one.
You have one.
Yeah.
You have one.
I just
one.
And I just ordered a few.
My my mom worked in the medical field for years, and she gave me that one.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one. I bought some just regular reusables.
Yeah, I have others.
But I can tell you that there is an ongoing supply issue there.
Mm-hmm.
We have plenty of empty factory space here, David. We should just be making N95s here.
Yeah.
Why aren't we making N95s in Northeast Ohio right now? It doesn't make sense. But this is where we are. Like, months later now, where we knew we needed N95s in February, right? Still, we could, instead of deploying the National Guard, what if we actually did the Defense Production Act here and made them make N95s in Northeast Ohio for people? We might have had a factory up and running by now.
Yeah.
But no, let's shoot rubber bullets at people instead. Like,
guys, I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, so I just don't get how we can, like, have this, like, we're in a pandemic. Like, we're not acting like it.
I had a friend, he's still a friend, who was a Holocaust denier. And this was back in the early 2000s when that sort of nonsense couldn't spread as far and wide as it can today. I think a lot of the reason that people are acting like we're not in a pandemic is because they have all of these pundits saying we're not in a pandemic. It's so much easier to buy into that shit and kind of it's the echo chamber effect, to kind of reinforce your own misguided worldview. And what this is kind of it's a perfect storm, right? Because you go out, you look at footage of these protests, and a lot of people have masks, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah. And
things are only going to get worse in that regard, which is going to make people even angrier and more desperate. I wanted to weigh in on the Blackout Tuesday. I think that, like, I got the sentiment. Like, I don't want to name anybody because I believe everyone had the right motivation. At least I hope they do. But the idea of saying, we want other voices to be heard today, I get the sentiment. It's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful thought. But my thing was, well, if you have a platform like we have here, why wouldn't you use it to show support for voices who can't always be heard? It's one thing to say you have the floor, but there are a lot of people who aren't used to taking the floor, who can't take the floor. So I don't know what I believe is a white person. And there's this really fine line between what I want to express and white guilt. Because yeah, sure. I think white guilt can often be self-serving. You're kind of trying to martyr yourself, and that's not what I'm doing here. My whole thing has been, how I've approached the situation is two ways. One, I kind of just want to shut the fuck up and retweet or share and spread information, because I can't speak to this. I'll never understand what you go through, what Black people go through, right?
Yeah, sure.
But also, like, just give your platform to other people and also speak up for them. That's what I believe as a white person. I feel like I have an obligation to kind of weaponize my privilege for other people. I should speak. You know what I mean? I want to find the right words. I don't want to speak for them.
No,
but I want to.
boost.
But I should signal boost, and I should say, look, it's important to support them. It's important to say Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I even corrected someone. I'm like, look, I'm not normally this type of person. I'm not normally one to just kind of like slide into your DMs and be like, well, actually, but like they were like, oh no, all lives matter. I'm like, here's the thing. I think that you have the right sentiment, but it's kind of like The Rock said today. Yes, of course, all lives matter, but what Black Lives Matter does not mean Black Lives Matter the most. It means that these lives that have been devalued and mistreated and thrown away are important.
Yeah,
and you need to say that. You need to stand up for people.
Yeah, it's about pointing out the inequity and saying it's not about anyone mattering more. It's about pointing out that we're treating people very poorly and that's not right. And I guess why it resonates with me and why I get so pissed off, and it's not just about Black Lives Matter. It's LGBTQ rights. It's everything. Because when you are a minority and you see another minority being treated wrong, you know that it could happen to you. And I have had it happen to me, and I have been called the N-word. And it was confusing because I'm not black, but I was called the N-word multiple times. I was called the N-word right out there on my driveway. You know what I mean? Like 31 years ago. But like, I still remember it. And like my mom, oh boy, did she talk to their mom and let them know that was not okay, you know? But like, because of that, because I had a strong role model that told me that this is not okay and you should stand up to injustice and you should not feel inferior because of your skin color or whatever. I reject this. I reject white supremacy. I don't understand it. I think it's hilarious because like it's like American exceptionalism. We're not the best at many things anymore.
No.
So like good luck with white supremacy being the best at most things too. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's that same kind of fallacy. And oddly enough, you see a lot of MAGA heads who are white supremacists who think America's great, or now we're keeping America great, right? So like, I reject any kind of discrimination that I see like that, and I will vehemently oppose it. And I think it was apparent before George Floyd died that I felt this way. So that's why, like, when it was the Tuesday to make your statement on a black background with a white image, I didn't fucking do that.
No.
I posted a brown image, and I mentioned the concentration camp in Western China that's holding millions of Uyghur Muslims. Because they're not getting any. No one's paying attention to that. And we all buy our iPhones, and we all play Valorant, and no one gives a shit. No one gives a fuck about the moral hazard of doing business with China. And like, I'm like, yes, we should all be we should be paying attention to Black Lives Matter. We should have been paying attention to Colin Kaepernick. We had 2 years of lead time to do something about this. Just from that signal. You want to talk about Rodney King? You want to talk about 1994, 1992?
And or even the 80s? Just like the Charlottesville protests that happened.
Yeah, just a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, we've had plenty of time. It's just that this is a boiling point, and I welcome it. And and like you said, I feel that there's like so much suffering in the world right now between what's happening with the protests, what's happening on an everyday basis just to be a black person in America. And then, like people losing their jobs. People are suffering. Like there's an immense amount of suffering in this country. So this civil unrest did not surprise me. And it will continue until there's equity. And I think, and fairness, and like an equal playing field. And I hope that we get that, but I fear that this could escalate. I fear that this president wants it to escalate. And that I am a nonviolent person. So I am not going to be out there burning things. I'm not going to advocate any of that, but I understand the rage. I understand the hopelessness that leads to someone doing that. You know, like I get that. I super get that, and I feel bad that they're in that situation. But yeah, like, I'm channeling my negativity. Instead of burning shit, I'm making this fucking level in Mario Maker too, and it's fucking awful. It's the worst shit you'll ever play. It's pure evil. All this negativity, like, because here's what I've channeled. I started making this level when I had this fucking root canal that I needed to get done, right? So first, it was the pain here, right? This was before the riots began, and then I continued making it throughout these the protests and riots, and the pandemic. So all this, everything, E3 being canceled, me watching Community, all of it, I'm putting into this level. Okay, Blake, here it is. Right. I don't like how Community treats mental illness. Period. End of story. Don't like.
Are you talking about Abed?
Talking about Abed. I'm talking about Chang. I'm talking about Britta. I think they are too flippant with mental illness on that show. It's like a gag for them. It's starting to bother me. I'm in season 4, halfway in, and I'm just like, ugh. Like, but I'm watching it, and that's it though. It's not that I dislike the show. I just think that they use Abed as a crutch, like that. Like, oh, Abed, let's do another Abed's wacky episode.
Well, here's the thing about it is Dan Harmon actually learned that he had Asperger's because of Abed.
I know.
Because like everybody, like, you know, he writes the scripts and he's writing like Joel McHale is his voice or whatever. And then like the more people talk to him about it, the more they told him like he was just like how much he was like Abed in real life. So one of the reasons that they probably write towards that a lot is because that ended up being Dan Harmon's voice.
But in season 4, Dan Harmon wasn't writing.
In season 4, it's the Russo brothers. Season 4 is I'm actually really critical of that. Like there's stuff that I really took offense to in that season. Like the way like Joel, like the way that Jeff Winger's character, or Jeff Winger, gets like his dad's information and decides to go talk to him. Like, as somebody who has been in that scenario, like I've never contacted my father, and like that seemed like a logical thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go over to my dad's place for Thanksgiving dinner.
I agree.
Like, I thought that was like a really, really shitty way to handle and approach that, because so much of that character's neuroses is tied into the fact that he was abandoned as a child and feels no self-worth because of it.
And it did not feel like they did right.
It didn't
by
feel
that
right.
moment.
No, they didn't.
That moment didn't feel right, and even the timing of it didn't feel right.
Yeah,
that was the first moment where I was like, I really don't like this season, and it's just kind of been snowballing since then. But
so when you get through it, like a lot of that stuff is retcon, and it's referred to as the gas leak season. Like, so, you have to understand that a lot of what happened in season 4 is they blame it on the gas leak.
That's really bad. That makes me hate it even more.
I don't know, man. Just get through it.
I'm going to. I'm watching the show, and I don't dislike it. And there's talented actors on it. It's a good ensemble. There's funny moments, but man, there are some parts of it where I'm like, man, I don't like this shit.
Season 4 misses the mark a lot. Like, I agree. And like,
I'm in it. I'm in the shit right now.
And like, so basically before that, you have a writer with Asperger's writing for a character.
And I didn't have much of a problem with that. I really feel like it's season 4 and how they're writing to it that I dislike. It's not I like Dan Harmon's writing.
You and every other fan of Community.
Okay, good.
Like, yeah, like
I'm glad that I'm now going through this like on like a tape delay. Like, this outrage probably occurred on the internet I don't know how many years ago, but we're finally past the point where I watched all of the F-Zero YouTube I could. So I'm on the Community.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know.
I'm really about to switch to Sunny though. I'm like, I need to finish Sunny. Sunny makes me feel good. This show's like,
okay.
I'm shaking my fist at season 4 of this show. And of course, I watched an episode while fighting a bat last night. Because it was just on. And I was like, I fucking hate this episode even more.
Which episode was it?
I have to go back and look. I don't know. I'm like at 10 or 11.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It gets weird. Like they don't write well, and like when Dan Harmon came back, like everyone was elated because he's really like the heart and soul of that show. So
yeah, I guess I'm seeing that because anyway. So yeah, I'm taking some of my rage from watching Community and putting it into this level also. But it's every single Koopaling with a power up, right? So they're the big version of the Koopaling. It's a gauntlet of them. In between each of them, there is a platforming challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not each of them,
because you're a cruel man.
Here's a fun stat. I die 65% of the time on the first screen. I can't even get past the first jump in this level 65% of the time.
You said that spin jumps are your kryptonite, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the spin jump.
It's a double spin jump on the first jump, David. It's a double spin jump on the first jump.
That's my shit right there.
You're gonna
love this level. I'm gonna love this level. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it.
You will love this level. You might be the only person who will actually beat this level. Maybe
if you combine a double spin jump with some wall jumps, I will lose my shit. That's good shit. I'm excited.
I have clips of it. I have so many clips. I made it past Wendy. I made it to Ludwig one time. I made it all the way. I think I made it to Morton, and like, I finally got to Bowser Jr. on one of my runs, right? Because it's all the Koopalings and Bowser Jr. and then Bowser. And I get to Bowser Jr. and I have like 30 seconds left. I'm like, I don't have enough time.
What did you use the default timer? 300 seconds.
So I'm moving it up to 350.
What about 250?
I'm not sure if it's enough time because the Bowser battle is super long. You saw it.
Okay.
You saw that screen.
Yeah, I saw that screen.
With the thwomps and the lava.
You have to just do it this weekend because we have to play it during E4.
I know. What I'm going to do, because I think at this point, I'm probably going to stream tonight. I think I might stream myself trying to clear it.
No spoilers.
I can't spoil it, right?
You can't do that. Please don't do that. Nobody should have an edge. You've hyped this level so much. I don't want anyone knowing more than that because I would not watch the stream.
I know. No one should watch it. Well, maybe I'll just stream F-Zero or something. I don't know. Anyway, I want to play this game. I want to finish it. I need to beat this level. But at the same time, it's not looking good. I'm not very good at it. I die 65% of the time on the first jump. Now the rest of the time I make it pretty far.
Yeah, it sounds like you only failed that last or that furthest attempt because of the timer, right? Like if you would have had,
I think I would have cleared the level if I didn't run out of time. I had and I had been playing it for like an hour and a half straight, David. This is the thing. I've probably got about 6 hours in this fucking level right now. It's hard. I texted you on Sunday. I'm like, I'm uploading. You're like, I'll play it tomorrow.
Let me tell you about my life this week. In between just seeing like sadness and awfulness, every now and then I'll get a text from Asif. I hate this level. Slack will ping. Bing. I hate this level. I'm like, oh, he's trying again. He's giving it another go. Yeah. I just like in the middle of the night, like my phone rings. I'm like I hate this level. I'm like, oh, he still hates that level. And I go back to sleep.
Yeah, it's like
I'm just hearing from you. Yeah.
11:30 at night, I text David. I'm like,
I hate this level.
It's just like,
yeah.
Did he bend his elbows? Yeah. Did he follow through? Oh, he's trying.
He's doing his best.
It's not. I don't know. The jump is tough. It's like there's this very specific timing to it on that first jump, and then I do some things in this level where you're like, there are some areas where there are obvious checkpoints. Like I could have put a checkpoint there, I could have put a checkpoint there.
But
no, not a single checkpoint. So that's going to make it infinitely harder. Now I did save a copy of this level. And I'm thinking if people complain, maybe I'll give them a baby version of
it. You could. That's how. I saw this was a few months ago, but I saw that creators were making difficulty selects.
Yeah.
Either releasing different versions.
Yeah, I would rather just do 2 versions.
You do two versions.
One would be the checkpoint version, one would be non-checkpoint version.
Yeah.
But I don't.
The thing is, if you're trying to make a gauntlet, I think that checkpoints kind of ruin that because then you don't get the experience of going through the whole gauntlet.
I agree.
You know? I
would say that Wendy is annoying because she shoots this little ball and it bounces. It doesn't just disappear.
Yeah.
A lot of the other guys, their projectiles don't bounce. I had to factor that in. I think it's Ike. Ike teleports.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to make Ike's battle way different than anyone else's. And if you skip Ike, you can't complete the level. He is a clear condition.
Ike is? Oh, okay. So do you like... We might be verging into spoiler territory, so feel free to shut this down. But, like, do you have something that you have to carry with you manually or otherwise that you get from Ike that you need when you beat Bowser?
No.
This isn't like a simple case of, like, since it's a castle level, you don't just jump on the axe and break the bridge, right? Like, you have to do other stuff.
If you jump on the axe and break the bridge after defeating Ike, you clear the level.
Okay.
But it would be impossible.
I bet I know what you did. Okay, yeah, I'm super curious to see.
It would be impossible to beat Ike, not beat Bowser Jr., and then not beat Bowser and hit the axe.
Damn.
That would be impossible.
Okay.
Because I added something at the very end of my level creation where I was like, I could be more of a dick. So I did. I was like, this is a little too nice. I was like, there's still a little bit of space here. I was like, more. Remember I said I added more spikes and more fire?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this level could use just a little bit more spikes and a little bit more fire.
That's funny. I was talking to, like, the dev team of Diablo 2. They would say that Max Schaefer, when they would ask him, like, oh, something's missing here in this area, he'd always be like, more blood, more fire. And they were like, yeah, okay, that usually did it, More blood, more fire.
Yep. Yeah. I'm hopefully by the next episode I will have uploaded it. I'm trying my best, folks. Just a reminder that Briefcase Level 5 took me 2 weeks to build, right? 6 weeks to upload on the Wii U, right? It was a dark period of time.
Yeah.
So we're less than a week into me uploading this.
You're a better Mario player now than you were then, though, probably. Not that. No, I'm saying that might not be a factor, but I think anyone who spent a good period of time with either Mario Maker game is a better player because of the diversity of levels out there.
Sure.
You're doing things that you don't even realize you're doing, but you can do those things now.
But I do agree that when it comes to technical skill, the new Super Mario Bros. Game style is the best.
Oh,
outside of Kaizo. If you are a Kaizo player, Super Mario World is obviously the way to go in Mario Maker. But
yeah,
and I still love the art style of Super Mario World. Like I prefer some of the gameplay mechanics of New Super Mario.
Yeah, like I don't really. I've never been a huge fan of the audio visual direction of the new Super Mario Brothers series, but like mechanically, that game is airtight. I would say it has the best controls of any Mario game ever. Super Mario World is right up there though, because it wasn't as complex. It wasn't all over the place. There was a spin jump, but it was something you did from the ground. It wasn't a way to like keep momentum in the air.
Yeah.
There was no wall jump. Really like the most complex mechanic in that game was probably the feather. Like you could do some crazy shit with the feather in that game.
That's right. And I have never really truly made. I made a little nod to the feather in Briefcase Level 3 on Mario Maker 2. There's there's one screen where you have to use it, and then you're on to the next thing. But I would like to make a whole level built around just flying with Cape Mario. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
But
unlimited flight or
something like that. If I could figure out a way to like keep him moving upwards, I don't know how, but
I know how you can do it.
Yeah. There's some like blowers or something that you could use.
Yeah, and there's also there's some like Rube Goldberg-esque ways to keep stuff going. You know what I mean?
That's right. You could use slopes to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'm looking forward to making Super Briefcase World after this. This is I'm free after this. I can go work on my world after this. And I've already talked about that on the podcast. I'm looking forward to making 40 levels, 5 levels, 8 worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's gonna be great. But these levels would not work. If I put these in succession in a world, you would hate that world. And you wouldn't even be able to beat it. No one beat Briefcase level 2 or 5. Very few people beat 5. And I think it's less than 2% beat level 2. The shmup.
Yeah.
People hate that level. I think it's pretty hilarious. I think it's funny. And I also think my multiplayer levels were funny. The auto scroll.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. But I'm looking forward to making shorter, funnier, weirder things. But I'm really proud of the platforming in this. I think I've made a really good challenge. And you learn it. And any good Mario level, you learn it. And then by the time you beat it, you have mastered it. And that's what Mario is about.
I think that might be your forte, honestly. I liked your Briefcase level 4 was a good boss gauntlet.
Yeah.
But your platforming is actually really, really good because you're good at it's almost like you're designing a shrine in Breath of the Wild where you're like, here's the solution, but you could also do this. A lot of your platform, especially in Briefcase level 5, I realized I could do this jump, but I could also do it this way, and it actually works.
Yep.
Kind of finding the open-endedness in your levels to me is the fun. So I'm in for the boss gauntlets, but platforming is what gets me excited about a new level of yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say that the boss fights escalate.
I'm sure.
And it's the last 2 they're tough, but fair. There's an element of fairness.
That's in the spirit of Mario. You remember Mario 3? All the Koopalings were more or less the same.
Yes.
But in Mario World, the boss fights got tougher.
Yes.
And so that's kind of this sounds like this is in the spirit of Mario World's escalation from boss fight to boss fight. You know.
Yes. And it's but even the things you have to do in between it, and I tweeted about it where I ran into this constraint. I ran out of doors.
Yeah.
In the sub area, so I had to come up with this way where not every Koopaling is in the sub area because I had more doors available in the overworld. Yeah. So there's I used, if you look at my level, I used every bit of square, every little rectangle I could.
And you use the same tile set for overworld and subworld.
Yeah, it's just lava.
Yeah. Because it's hell. You're putting us in hell. Yeah.
No, but you told me when I made this, make the sequel to Briefcase level 5. You're make that sequel. I'm okay. I don't think anyone asked for this, but here it is.
Just this guy. Right here.
2 people.
Way to go, David.
2 people wanted this, and I hope to upload it someday. That's my
Ozzy will like it too. I think Skankcore, Ozzy, and I will enjoy this level. Honestly,
Ozzy did beat it. I saw Ozzy do that. We saw it live.
People forget Ozzy was in QA. That guy can sit down and just dissect a game. You know,
his Mario Maker levels are great. I don't know if you played him.
I haven't played. I don't think I have his. I need to get his. Well, I have his friend code now, so I guess I could follow him in Mario Maker too.
Yeah, you should go back and play some of his levels. He has some really good ones, and he did beat Briefcase level 5. But this is it. After this, I'm gonna go back to Animal Crossing and spend all my bells. It's been
you're 101 million bells.
I have a lot of bells. Yeah, update everyone. I flipped 17 million bells worth of turnips.
Oh my god!
So stay tuned for E4 for the last dance with turnips.
I'm excited for that too. I want to see that video feature.
It's just gonna be fast forward of me moving turnips back and forth.
You need a timer though. I want to see how much time you actually spent going back and forth and doing
I will.
Shit.
It's I think it was, I don't know, I'll add it up. There's so much gameplay. It's stupid. That's going to be my weekend, is editing The Last Dance and Turnips. And then doing more prep work for Ice-T. Because what the fuck? We got Ice-T coming to E4.
Oh my God. I'm so excited about this. I'm freaking so excited. I've been, every year for E3, I've been like, let's get Ice-T. We couldn't get him because like we were like either it was like too late or we just didn't try.
Or he could like again. This might
be working.
Well, this
like
is an area. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was supposed to also like a lot of times he's on tour.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be working right now. Between his Law and Order schedule and his music tours and stuff. Like, It's a very busy man. So we caught him at a time where he wasn't busy and he wants to play video games with us. It's going to be amazing.
I mean, this is something that couldn't have happened unless we were forced to be creative and come up with something to slot into the place of E3. Logistically, this never would have happened if we still had to be in the convention center doing that dinosaur E3 stuff.
We couldn't use 3 hours of stream time just on one thing.
No.
We only have X amount of hours. Yeah. I have this booth I had to build.
Yeah.
Let's never build a booth again.
Well,
as I sit in front of my old booth.
That's, you know what? That's like the remnant of... It's like taking a piece of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, that's all we need. E3 2018, that's all we need.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we need. Forget 19.
Yeah.
19 wasn't that great. 18 was a special year. 20, E4 is looking pretty fucking lit. That's all I know.
It is.
Yeah. I should check my inbox. I think people are going to be replying to me about my E4. Yeah. Hey.
The bomb you dropped hour and a half ago, something.
Yeah. But no, it's going to be great. Everyone should tune in, and even if you can't, just watch us on YouTube. Check out the articles on Shacknews. We'll keep you updated everywhere. And that was a shorter episode. We wanted to do a shorter episode tonight, right? I think we hit all the things.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, this was a chance to use our platform
exactly
to lift people up instead of whatever. It is what it is. But I'm glad we could help lift people up and signal boost. Yeah.
And we're going to be doing another show with our friends at Smash Studios, on Tuesday of E4, talking more about criminal justice reform and everything going on in the world right now, and giving those folks a platform like we did on Wide World on Monday. And we're going to keep doing that. Like, my attitude was like, we didn't need just one day to do that. Like, we can do that. And I do want to, as much as I criticize some of our competitors, I want to shout out Mike Williams over at US Gamer, who that day wrote an article highlighting a bunch of content creators who are Black, and a lot of other people out there who took that day to take their platform and write something actually good and helpful. So it's not all bad out there, but I just think that some people might have missed the mark on what you can, or maybe they're still missing the mark on what they can do with their platforms. Because a lot of these folks in our industry have millions of followers and can reach people that maybe some of these smaller content creators can't. So I think that message of signal boosting is important. And also just being safe. Not everyone is healthy enough to go out and protest.
Right.
But you can still be active on social media. You can be active by donating your time or your money or just listening to somebody. There's all sorts of ways. So don't feel hopeless. I know it's very easy to feel that right now, but I think that as long as there's more good people than bad people over time, we're going to win. But it's going to take time, and it looks really bad right now. But I feel like this is it's like a pivotal moment in U.S. history, and we'll look back at this, and it'll be a moment we can point to when things change.
I've never really been optimistic about America, but I've been more optimistic now than I think I've ever felt in my life.
It's more about the world for me. Like, I just feel like the world, I think, is standing up to America, like, and saying, "Fix your shit."
Yeah,
fix your shit, America. Like, your shit's broken. You're not king.
Most of America agrees with that sentiment too.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is like, yeah, it's really unifying. But just in the fact that I'm actually seeing, like, when Oscar Grant was killed in Fruitvale Station in Oakland, like, we didn't go apeshit until after his murderer was acquitted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. In this case, like, the spark happened before the trial.
I think it's because of how the video spread.
It's just too fucking blatant. It's too fucking blatant. There's no argument to be made.
Yeah.
Like, that guy was fucking George Floyd was murdered in cold blood, and it's revolting. And
we all watched it, and I think that's why it spread so fast. Is that we all had to sit there and be like, with our own eyes, look at it. Where a lot of the time, with violence, with the police killing a black person, there isn't video. Oh, the body cam was off. Oh, the camera was off. Or this was off. So when we have such graphic footage of it, I think it highlighted it. And like I said earlier, like, the dichotomy of that versus how all the white people with AK-47s were treated just 2 weeks ago, it's too much to handle. And it's too obvious of an example of the inequity.
Yeah. But the fact that, like, we're seeing so much reform happen immediately in Minneapolis and in Minnesota, and the ways that they're thinking about, like, so many people have canceled their contracts with the police in that area now. Like, Parks and Recreation has canceled it. All the schools in the area are no longer contracting with the police for security. Like, they're losing money left and right because of it. They're taking funds in Los Angeles from the cops and putting it into community outreach and to help lower income communities. Like, that's unprecedented. Like, especially LA. Like, it has always been like a place where the cops are very authoritarian. Yes. And, like, they do not give a fuck about you.
That's
so
correct.
When you see it happening in a place like LA, like, to me, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Like, it's power to the people, which is like it's what protesters have been demanding forever, and it's the same reason that we marched against the wars in Afghanistan when Bush was president, and it's the same reason that
did we march against Afghanistan? I don't think we did. I think we marched against Iraq.
No,
but there weren't many protests about Afghanistan because people wanted to bomb some brown people after 9/11.
I remember protesting that in San Francisco.
I mean,
but we have a long history of
the most liberal places.
Yeah,
probably were anti-war, but I lived in the Midwest then, and
probably not getting a lot of calls to action. Like, out there.
We were, because it was right after 9/11. It was the campus. I was in Ann Arbor at the time. Ann Arbor is definitely an anti-war town, a very liberal town, but I don't recall anti-war protests for Afghanistan because it was so pro-military right then. Like, you couldn't, like, it wasn't, you didn't want to be on the other side of that. Whereas, like, by 2003, when we were going to war over weapons of mass destruction in Iran, I don't think people understood. Like, even in the Midwest, they were like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, they didn't even attack us on 9/11. Like, I think that was that difference in opinion is why there was protests then versus not. But San Francisco, it makes sense that there were anti-war protests. And back then, there were, like, fucking parades every other week in San Francisco.
Oh my God, San Francisco was so awesome.
It was an amazing place to go. Actually, there would be a parade every week.
Oh my God, I once went to a protest during the Bush era, like marched for like hours, and then went to the like City Hall, like downtown, like there where God, I don't know why I'm blanking on everything's name right now, but like the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium's right there, City Hall's right there, and they had this thing called the Love Fest going on.
Yeah, I remember Love Fest.
Yeah, so it was like a whole day of protesting, followed by like a whole evening of dancing and getting fucked up on the steps of City Hall.
Yeah,
you know, and I was like, that to me like encompasses everything that San Francisco used to be about. You know, the fact that like, you know, we push hard against like the
but
politics.
They banned that, right?
Love Fest, yeah, they just fucking outright canceled it. They tried to do it in Oakland, but it never really caught on again.
It was massive back in the day, though. I've been to a Love Fest before in San Francisco. It's something else. Like that, like you said, that vibe. That makes sense that there would be protests against all sorts of wars there, but yeah,
they just happened to be on the same day. So like, I just remember marching all over San Francisco, like protesting war, and then
I will say
it's my party on.
It's been cool to see a lot of the Pride protests incorporate Black Lives Matter into their platform this year. I think that's awesome to see. So yeah, like I guess I've tweeted this out and I've said it a lot. I think we can end shortly after saying this. Maybe I'll do our usual bullshit, but I think in both situations that we're in, the pandemic, as well as what's going on with criminal justice reform and civil unrest, we need solidarity as a human race now more than ever. Not as like black and white people working together, or Ubisoft and black people working together, or IGN taking the week off. We need the whole world to come together if we're to defeat this virus, right? And if we were to defeat racial inequity as well as wealth disparity. We have to admit that people have certain rights, be it healthcare, education, freedom of speech, you know, human rights, all those things, civil rights. We have to accept that as a humanity, as a human race, or else we will fail. And I fear that we're not doing that. And that, you know, right now, the spotlight in America is on black versus white. But right before this, there was a lot of anti-China sentiment in this country. And I saw that happening. And I was like, well, that's going to be something to pay attention to. You know, and like, I think it's important to be mindful that this goes beyond just this. This is about treating everyone the same and working together as a human race. Because I don't think we have a shot in hell to beat this virus unless we work together. And that's like, I know that they're two different things, but I feel like there's something about the message that applies to both at the same time, that all humans are equal and we have to work together against this common evil that we face. And there's two evils out there.
I'll drink to that.
But yeah, so that's our, not even that short of a Shackcast, but we wanted to do a Shackcast. I told everyone this week I was going to do a Shackcast because everyone else didn't do a Shackcast. And I was like, well, I'm going to talk about this stuff because I want to talk about it. And I feel like we added something to the discussion. And I think that's important. And even if you disagree with 95% of what I say, if 5% entered your brain cell and you did something, that's probably good.
You know what agree or disagree, like discourse is kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
There's no room for people. Don't have nuanced worldviews anymore. It's either all or nothing. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, even if 5% gets through, cool. Then we had a good discussion.
Exactly. At least the discussion was had. Maybe this will motivate you to have a discussion with someone who needs to have this discussion, or a different discussion. Maybe you'll talk about. Maybe you didn't know about Uyghur Muslims. Because the media doesn't.
I did not before you tweeted about it, and then I looked it up and I learned.
Yeah, like the media is definitely doing a very poor job of covering that, and I think that it's something that, as a Muslim American, I'm going to keep pointing out, because I don't think those people don't have anyone fighting for them.
Right.
And I'm like, while I'm here, while we're talking about social injustice, we can't just sit idly by while there are concentration camps in China, and we can't. The same thing for kids in cages on the southern border. That's still wrong. That's still immoral. And yeah, so it goes back to that statement. Solidarity of all races, solidarity of all disenfranchised groups, solidarity of all people. That's it. Like, equality. And it's a very simple, it sounds stupid to say, and it's been overused and it's almost a meme, but there's a Raver code. We go by it, the Army of Techno. We've lived by it since our founding. It's peace, love, unity, and respect. PLUR is the abbreviation for it. But that's it. And if you look at those things, if you act in that way towards everyone, that speaks to that solidarity I'm talking about. If you have respect for everyone, if you have unity, if you come from a place of peace and love, we'll be fine. So that's the message that I send out to the world every time I tweet. That's what those emotes are. So yeah, that's the show. You can find us in all those places that Shacknews does our Shacknews thing on the internet. We're at Shacknews on Twitter. We're at Shacknews Media on Instagram, because we forgot the email address associated with Shacknews on Instagram. We don't know.
Go to internet.com.
We can't
all your
find
Shacknews needs.
Yeah, shacknews.com/chatty grew for the third straight month in a row in page views. David?
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm going to say something. I'm not going to say it publicly.
Uh-oh.
I believe shacknews.com/chatty page views have bottomed. I think.
Yeah.
I
think that the decline that began over a decade ago has ended. I'm not saying we're going to the moon tomorrow. I'm just saying that
there's nowhere to go but up.
I'm saying that it would have died, right? But it didn't, and now it's growing again. And I do think that the post
would have died, but it didn't.
Yeah,
now it's growing again.
This guy doesn't even post to the chatty. But yeah, but
not a lot.
How many lulls do you have?
I have no.
Probably
lulls.
Count them on two hands.
They're more like lulls, like LULL.
No,
that's
I don't know. You got to get in this triple-digit lull club, man. There's a lull session out there. But anyway, I think that the bottom has occurred, and I'm working on new things on the dev side of things all the time. So yes, we had some exciting news from the E4 side of things this week, but there's a lot more to come later this year. So tune into twitch.tv/Shacknews next week, youtube.com/ShackNewsGames, youtube.com/GamerHubVideos. While you're at shacknews.com, how about you click on that long reads tab? Yeah. Check out David's long read about the Life is Strange series. A lot of people have been reading it, David. I can tell you that.
Life is Strange. It's been getting some love from the parent companies too.
Square Enix. I saw it it was on the Life is Strange Reddit. It's that community loves that content. So congratulations, David. That was really well done. There's all sorts of other stuff on the site. We got guides, we got reviews. Whatever game you want us to review, we'll review.
We've got toy unboxings. A lot of toy unboxings from Greg lately,
and a lot of video content. We're coming back. Yeah. We're gonna have the stream you're streaming The Dump tomorrow. You got that weekly news show.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to stream tonight.
We're going to have a new opening for it, too, tomorrow that I just saw today, and I'm really excited about.
I saw the new opening. It's outstanding. That Chris Gerard, he's going places.
I like that kid.
Yeah.
He's A-okay.
He's A-okay by me. So, yeah. And I think that's, yeah. There's a soapbox.
That's for Chris.
If you're on the internet, you probably are because you're listening to us or a series of tubes, and say you're on Twitter and you see a tweet and it confirms your bias. Hold on a second. Click the link before you share it. Read the article. Listen to the podcast. Watch the video. There may be fake news in there. Actually, question the source if you want to go sexy build a cameraman's extra mile.
Question the source.
It's super important to do this right now because there's a ton of misinformation being spread, mainly by the President of the United States.
So true.
And White House on Twitter. The White House on Twitter.
Oh, man.
I saw this real quick. This guy, he reposted all of the president's tweets. I included this in the evening reading last night to see how long it would take him to get banned. The one where he called black people thugs and incited violence. 12 hours. It took an account who wasn't the president 12 hours to get banned for tweeting the same thing that the president did. So there you go. And yeah, he did tweet misinformation about mail-in voting. Mail-in voting is totally cool. Do that. Register to vote if you haven't already. Find out about where to vote and how to do it. It's super important, not just for the president, for all of your local stuff, for your judges, your treasurers, people who finance the police department, like Blake was mentioning, decision makers, mayors. There's all sorts of elections that you can participate in, you can be active in. Mm-hmm. So do that.
Run for local politics. If you have the ways and means and the wherewithal to do it.
I don't want
to. I know you don't. I'm talking to people in general, though.
Yeah, I thought you were talking now.